Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. A little bit earlier this afternoon, it was supposed to be a 4 p.m. show, but we've had some breaking news breaking out that we want to bring to you, and we want to get it to you early. And it is about Malacia of Feyenoord. The last time we heard, Feyenoord were selling Malacia to Lyon for 15 million euros, and it is now come out this afternoon. We've got two updates, one from Fabrizio Romano and we've got another one from MK Rabbi, saying Feyenoord have reached an agreement with Manchester United last night about Tyrell Malacia. Now it's up to the player to get out, with that they hijacked the deal at Lyon. And then coming from Fabrizio Romano, who's just put an exclusive out just before we went live, it says Manchester United are trying to hijack Tyrell Malacia deal after full verbal agreement with Lyon. Man United jumped in before it was signed. Talks with Feyenoord to reach an agreement, Dutch sources confirm, and Malacia also has the same agents as Frenkie de Jong, who looks like it is about to get over the line very, very soon. So having the same agents, coming out from a very good Feyenoord reporter, that Manchester United last night agreed a deal with Tyrell Malacia with Feyenoord. So now it is about the player. To me, I think we're getting this deal done. I 100% think that this is going to happen. If Manchester United are hijacking this deal, and again, just a very, very important point, it's coming out as well that the full agreement and that the offer that we've put in has trumped Lyon's offer. So our offer is trumping Lyon's offer. So the price is better that Manchester United are putting in to hijack the deal. And also the player is probably going to want to more likely go to Manchester United than Lyon. So this is a sign that's kind of come out of the blue. We've had this Frenkie de Jong deal going on for 9 weeks. And now it seems like right at the last minute, it's caused another club to jump us into action to get this target, which is a high priority target for Erik ten Hag. I've talked about it on the show before. A couple of afternoon shows, we've spoke about Tyrell Malacia being a key priority for Erik ten Hag. It seemed like Lyon was going to get this player over the line for 15 million euros, which is a steal for a player that's going to be playing regularly for a club like Manchester United. And it looks like now that we are about to trump that deal. So it is really, really exciting, because it seems like this is a deal that will get done quickly. And it seems like it's a deal that Manchester United can definitely get over the line. If our offer is better, I see no reason why this deal can't happen. And it's also interesting that Erik ten Hag, in my opinion, must have been absolutely pushing this deal to go through for us to jump in at the last minute. The Frenkie de Jong deal is kind of coming to a close now, but we are still working on it. To jump in and manage to sort out a deal with Feyenoord last night for this player, it must be a high priority for Erik ten Hag. And get in the comments down below as well. Do you think this is a good signing? I would think that we're going to go for around 20 million euros if Lyon's offer was 15 million euros. And Romano was only saying a couple of days ago that this was done to Lyon, verbal agreement met. But us jumping in at the last minute to get this deal done is very good business, because I don't think Erik ten Hag is getting this player in to sit on the bench every week. I genuinely think he's either going to massively challenge Luke Shaw or he's going to start. He's going to start on the left for Erik ten Hag. He's watched him in the Dutch league, 22, young fullback, really aggressive. I think he'll have no problem adapting to the Premier League. He's got that aggression there. I've seen a few people in the comments as well saying that maybe he's a Dutch Wan-Bissaka. I don't think that at all. He is good defensively, which is what you need, especially in the Premier League. And he can put a cross into the box. He can cross the ball, which we've seen multiple times before. Aaron Wan-Bissaka struggles and cannot do. So he's not a Dutch Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's good defensively. He can get across into the box, and he's got areas for development. Of course, he has. He's 22, playing in the Dutch league. But this adaptation from him to the Premier League, working under Erik ten Hag, I think it will be a massive opportunity, and we could be getting a really, really good player here for the money that we will be paying. 20 million euros, I suggest, is what we're going to go for to trump Lyon's offer. And get in the chat down below, what do you think of this? Do you think it's a good deal for Manchester United? We know we're forking out £56 million on Frenkie de Jong plus add-ons. We're now looking like we're going to get this deal over the line. There's finally starting to be some movement in this transfer window. And I think with Tyrell Malacia, we could even see this get done before Frenkie de Jong, because it is a quick moving deal that would have to move quickly in order to stop Lyon from getting this deal done. And I'll read some of your comments as well, because it's interesting about what's going to happen with Shaw. I was just speaking before the show, And maybe Eric Ten Hag's thinking, we've seen Shaw over his course at the time, Manchester United. He's not been able to cut it. He's had a couple good seasons, some very good seasons. And we know when there's always a turn with a player on the day, they can turn up. And Shaw had that good season under Ollie where he did do very, very well. When he first came in for Manchester United, he was having that good season before his injury, but it's not been consistent enough. If we're going to make the flanks work with the wingers this season, we need fullbacks in support. If Rashford is going to be tried on the left or Sancho is going to be on the left, whoever Eric Ten Hag goes with, they need a partner who is going to be consistent in order for the attack and defence to work fluently. So maybe he said, maybe Luke Shaw's time's coming to a close and maybe they're really going to have to battle for that position. It's interesting to see what's going to happen because I know there's some Shaw fans and there's some people who think Shaw, he needs to go and we need to get a better fullback in. So potentially, I don't think this Malacia is signing just to be another Telles, a complete backup. He's signing to compete with Shaw or even possibly get in before him. So, I mean, do we need a right back over that? To me, it seems like the reports that Eric Ten Hag is excited to work with Dalot. He thinks Dalot's got a lot of potential. Could be true if he is prioritising a left back over a right back, and hopefully as well we can move Telles and Williams on, players that we know aren't good enough. So it looks like we are improving in the fullback area, which is really important, especially if we're looking to help them wingers in the attack. Nick Edwards says, Shaw needs to go, no fight, no mental strength. And that's the thing. You can be a very, very good player, which I think Shaw is. But if you're not doing it consistently enough, how long has he been at United for now? 7 years? Is it been? It's been a long time. And he's not ever kind of had consistent season after consistent season. We need that from a player. So, and we know how he performed the first year Telles came in as well. He really kind of stepped up to that competition. When he knew he had his place, again, we started to see a dip in form like everyone did this season. And how Luke Shaw performed this season is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to me. And a lot of the players are in the same boat. So getting players in to challenge players who might think that they have the spot secured, I think it's good business. And I think it's a very, very good price as well. And it could be a player that really does develop and become a good player. And it could be a player that we often sign players where we think it's too much money. They could end up going back because we could lose in the fee. I think this player is really up and coming and he's ready for the next step up. And this is what he's gonna be for us. Merv said, I'd rather get rid of Telles. I definitely think Telles needs to start packing his bags now if we're getting another left back in. We all bought him thinking he was going to be some brilliant attacking fullback, and I do see them qualities in him, but he's just not been able to cut it in the Premier League, in my opinion. I think he's just not physical enough, especially for the defensive side of it, which is a difference between this Malacia, because I think Malacia is really aggressive and I think his physicality will not be a problem whatsoever. So we can kind of look at him and think, yes, there is developments there in his attacking game, but the fact he can get a good cross in, Ronaldo's going to be waiting in the box. We know what he can do with crosses. It's a very good appointment. And Stevie J says Telles needs to go. A lot of people saying we need to get Telles and Williams out, which I agree with. We massively need to start looking at the outgoings, especially when we're bringing these players in. But it's good that we're making this move now rather than waiting for these players to go. Manchester United have seen that Lyon are about to get this deal over the line. Eric Ten Hag's priority target for the fullback area, they're about to complete this deal. Instead of waiting for us to sell these players that it was reported by a lot of good journalists that they want to sell before recruiting in these areas, they thought, we'll step up, we'll go in and we'll try and hijack this deal, we'll get this over the line and we'll worry about selling these players later, which is positive. It means that they're going for who the manager wants. They're not standing still, which we have done a bit with the De Jong deal. We're moving at a good pace and we're doing what a club should do when a manager comes in. So I'm happy that we are hijacking this deal, and you've got to give plaudits where plaudits due. This is what we should be doing. This is what a successful club in the transfer market does. So I'm happy about this. And Joshua Bowater says, De Jong, Malacia, Anthony, and a centre-back. We winning the league again this year, Beth. I'm not committing to any statements like that. It's going to be a very tough season for Ten Hag. But the fact that we're starting to get these players in and starting to get a couple of deals close to being over the line is positive. Do you think this transfer window has, still for me, we've got no one holding up the shirt. we've handled things wrong, in my opinion. But now we're starting to get things moving. The price for Malacia, if we do get him for around 20 million euros, I think it's a brilliant price. Price for De Jong, if we do get him for around 65 million euros, I think that's a good price as well. Would I have handled it differently? Absolutely. But they are good prices, and it gives us some budget left as well from our budget that is rumoured to be around 120 million euros. So we need to kind of keep some money in there for other signings coming in. DJ Spence would be a good cheap right back option. I agree, but it seems like he's on his way to Spurs, and he's not really been linked to us since Erik ten Hag is coming to Manchester United. So I don't think he's really is one of the top priorities for Erik ten Hag. But everyone get in the chat as well, because I want to see your guys' opinions on this. Do you think the right back position needs to be addressed as well as the left back position? I think absolutely both fullback areas need some reinforcements. I thought last season they were both letting us down massively. We were getting let down all over the pitch. I agree with that. Our midfield was subpar. Our attacking line was being carried by Ronaldo. Our defence, I think the fullbacks and the centre backs didn't live up to expectations. But it looks like we are prioritising a left back with Erik ten Hag in Tyrell Malacia. We know we've got Shaw, Williams, and Tellers there. So it looks like some of them are going to be moving on. On the right back area, we know that Erik ten Hag wants to get rid of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We know that Wan-Bissaka is up for sale if anyone will take him. So that just leaves only Dalot. Do you think Erik ten Hag's going to assess potentially Ethan Laird or another right back? Or do you think he is going to want to address that later on in the window? Or do you think he is actually just putting a lot of his trust in Diogo Dalot? Because Dalot, before the end of last season, before Rangnick came in, it looked like his career was really on a downward spiral at Manchester United. He wasn't getting game time under Ole. When he came back from his loan at AC Milan, he still wasn't getting game time. And then we saw him come back. He had some good moments, but still he showed them signs of not being a complete right back, not being completely good enough to take Manchester United to the next level. He did a job in some games, but he didn't really wow anyone. He was better than Wan-Bissaka, but that isn't really an achievement when Wan-Bissaka was so poor last season. So do you think it shows that he is putting the trust in the right back area in Diogo Dalot? Because if we get Tyrell Malacia over the line, and then we also are going for Anthony, we're going for a centre back, I don't see any money being left in the budget for a right back. I really don't. I really don't see any money being left to go and get a replacement right back unless we do get good money for Wan-Bissaka, unless we do get good money for Tellers and Williams, which, I mean, miracles could happen, but I don't see them selling for a lot of money. So it's interesting that he's prioritised this fullback over potential other fullback that we've been linked to, such as Dumfries. Dumfries definitely is a player that could come in. But again, I just think the price, when you're also going for this fullback and our other options that we're going for, might be a little too high when you look at the Manchester United's budget, which is rumoured to be around 120 million euros. So, I mean, Erik ten Hag's watched this guy in the Dutch league. He knows what he's about. He must see a lot of promise in him for him to be pushing this deal and to be knowing he has Luke Shaw there and still wanting to get this deal over the line. He must really see a future for Tyrell Malacia in the Manchester United team. And I definitely think it's a brilliant signing for Manchester United when this happens. And we're finally getting a little bit of movement as well. Daniel Farr says, Dumfries still a target. I'm assuming he is still a target. We've had Romano on the show say it's possible that he does leave Milan and that he does go to Manchester United. It's a possibility. I think he is on our list of targets. But whether it's a priority target when we've also got the centre-back and Anthony and potentially another forward as well, another midfielder in Eriksen, is that going to be a priority target? I'm not completely sure. A lot of people saying check Twitter. I don't know if there's any new news, if we can check on that to see if there's any new news around the fullback situation. So far, the information I've got is that there was an agreement reached last night on Tyrell Malacia with Feyenoord for Manchester United, and it's likely we hijack the deal with the player now having to choose between the two clubs. And I assume he will choose Manchester United. So I think this will move quickly. That's the information that I've got. But I'll have a little look on Twitter now to see if there's anything new. And Michael Nguana, who is a member, says Aaron Wan-Bissaka 15 million, Tellers 10 million, and Williams 5 million. I think if Tellers is 10 million, I would be astounded if we sold Tellers for that much. Aaron Wan-Bissaka 50 million sounds about right, just purely because we paid 50 million for him. I don't think he's worth it. And Williams 5 million, I'd sell Williams for basically anything right now. I think I never see him being good enough for Manchester United. So we need to get players like that sold, even if it is for just a couple million. It's like, I know we're in talks with Pereira now for 15 million off Fulham, but even when Flamenco offered 5 million, I was like, take the deal. We might as well take the deal. These players are never going to play first team football for us on a regular basis. We might as well just shift the wages and get the players gone. And we're just checking on the update for you on Twitter, as everyone in the chat right now is saying that there is an update. A lot of people saying deal for £40 million. We're getting the update on you now, so I can confirm it on air. This is really exciting, guys, because there's actually some business that is potentially being done. And yes, I can confirm it, that the deal is done for 14 million. Is it £14 million? £14 million from Tyrell Malacia. I can say it's absolutely confirmed, but it is coming from the Mirror that the fee is agreed for Tyrell Malacia for £14 million, and it is deal done at the moment. So that is the news coming out from the Mirror. That is exciting because this is news that has moved really, really quickly. We've come on air at the thought of Fabrizio Romano saying that we have hijacked the deal. A very, very well-established Feyenoord reporter saying that we agreed terms with Feyenoord last night, and now it seems that we are paying 14 million for Tyrell Malacia, and we have hijacked this deal off Lyon. And I assume it is 14 million pounds, as Lyon were offering 50 million euros. So, and our offer supposedly did trump that of Lyon. So it seems like this is done. And what does that mean for Luke Shaw? What does that mean for Alex Telles? I think it definitely means Luke Shaw is going to have to become Roberto Carlos again if he has a chance of being part of this rebuild and getting into the Manchester United team on a regular basis. And I think it means it's time for Brandon Williams and Alex Telles to pack the bags and move on. And when I say I would take any money for them players right now, I would take anything. It's simple. They are not good enough, and therefore we just need to get them out for whatever we can possibly get, because you have Malacia and you have Shaw is the options on the left. We're really starting to get that depth on the left-hand side, which is really important for a club like Manchester United when we're looking to rebuild this football club. And the quote there is on screen for you now. Manchester United have sealed a £14 million deal to land Feyenoord defender Tyrell Malacia. It is really good to say that we're actually getting some business done, and now it's coming from Mullock as well at the Mirror. I really start to think this is going to get over the line very quickly, and it could potentially be the first signing of the Erik ten Hag reign, the first official signing anyway, because we know there's still hurdles to go on the Frenkie de Jong deal. We know it's going to happen, but there is still hurdles. So Tyrell Malacia could be the first deal done. And when you tell me that we'd have Malacia and Shaw as the left back options, I look at that and I think that's good. That's very. I'm happy with that for the club right now. I'm happy with that rebuild. And when you look at the right back, we do need reinforcements, but you can only do one thing at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and this it shows signs of wanting to get quality in and have them quality players in each position. So it is exciting. And exactly, I'm reading the comments now and I completely agree. AJ St. John said, good business, no way. And I don't know if people are getting my accent confused. Someone just asked 40 or 14. It is 14 million. I wouldn't be this excited if it was 40 million. It is 14 million for Tyrell Malacia, supposedly, that we are getting done. And I've got another quote coming out here from Scott Saunders saying, Feyenoord's asking price for Malacia is around 50 million euros. Lyon haggled for a base of 12 million euros deal, which has opened the door for MUFC's hijacking. So it seems like we got in there when Lyon were trying to negotiate, and we've got this deal done. And we've said this so many times. If another club enters the race for a player, we either pay the money. If it's a club like Lyon, it's a little bit easier because it's not a club that's going to be able to offer as much as us, in my opinion. Like, we're Manchester United, no offense to Leon, but we are a bigger club than them, so we can offer more. So we either pay the money and it forces us to move quickly, or we completely go out of the race and it's done. So we don't have the situation whereas like we did with Frankie de Jong, where you're moving at a very, very slow rate because no one's pushing Manchester United. No one's pushing us to make that offer because there's no one on our backs. So I think it's happened really well, to be honest with you. I love deals like this where you think it's over, you think it's done, and then at the last minute you see us make a signing that you didn't really see coming. I knew he was definitely on our wish list, and I knew we were interested, but it's a signing that I didn't see coming, to be honest. I thought when Fabrizio said it is done to Leon, it was done. So this happening from Manchester United, Murto might have worked his 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. last night, might have worked a bit of overtime, to be fair to him. And credit where credit's due, this is a very good deal if it does happen and it does get over the line. Now we should contact Leon and offer Telles. I definitely think it's an opportunity to do so. I think Tellers going to Leon could be an option potentially. They might be a little bit upset that we've just hijacked their deal, but if any offer comes in for Tellers, it's definitely going to be looked at by Manchester United. And Feyenoord sporting director said it's done, coming from the comments. Not too sure about that one, but I know that this deal is very close. And Beth, we're not out of the mud yet. 100%, by all means, I'm going to get excited over this signing because personally, I can't absolutely say it's 100% done until he's holding up the shirt. But for me now, I think this deal is done. And to know that this deal is done and Frankie de Jong is going to be done in the coming days as well, we're finally starting to get a bit of movement in the transfer window, and we're finally starting to see Manchester United pull the finger out and get Erik ten Hag's priority signings in. And that's the most important thing here. We're getting people that Erik ten Hag has asked for and has prioritised. We've not gone with the scouts. We've chucked the scouts list out and we've gone for what Erik ten Hag wants. And if we have Malacia and de Jong on the plane to pre-season, I think that's a good start, both at good prices as well. So you've got to get excited about certain things. You can definitely criticise. I've criticised Manchester United for waiting this long on de Jong. I've criticised for them haggling the fee down this much. I know a lot of people saying the fee's a good fee. I completely agree. But we've let other deals potentially go with the Anthony deal, that price has risen. With the Timber deal, that price has risen. So you can criticise where criticism's due, but on the Tyrone Malacia deal, £14 million, hijacking the deal at the last minute, getting this player over the line at all odds, I think it's a good deal. And it's the thing is though, it's like you're overhyping it. This is what a club like Manchester United should be doing. Manchester United should be doing without question. I shouldn't be sat here shocked and excited about this. We should be doing this. But this is the type of deal that we've let go in the past, and we've not done what a big club should do and just get the deal over the line. We've let these deals pass by. We're not doing that. We're getting Erik ten Hag's signings in. So, and Feyenoord have confirmed the deal. So the deal is done. Feyenoord sporting director Frank Arnesen says the agreement is there. We are now waiting for Tyrone Malacia. If he says yes, then a transfer to Manchester United is imminent. Right there on your screen, Feyenoord sporting director Frank Arnesen saying the agreement is there. We are now waiting for Tyrone Malacia. If he says yes, then a transfer to Manchester United is imminent. Right here now on the show, Tyrone Malacia to Manchester United should be done if the player says yes. Drum roll, the player turns us down. I'm joking. I'm hoping Tyrone Malacia does come to Manchester United. I'm assuming he will. It's a brilliant opportunity for him to work with Erik ten Hag, who he'll have seen in the Dutch league. He's Dutch himself. He'll know how this Manchester United manager works. He'll know how Erik ten Hag's training works. He'll have contacts that you can speak to about that at Ajax. I think it's only a matter of time till this deal is officially announced, because no offence to Leon, but if it's Leon or Manchester United, for me, it's quite an obvious choice. And I think it's a brilliant step up for him. And it looks like he will be going on the pre-season tour. So it's something to get excited about. And get your comments in down below. Now you know it's actually happened and the sporting director has confirmed it. What do you think about this deal? What do you think of the price, 14 million? And what do you think of the player? Does he start over Luke Shaw? That is what I want to know in the chat below. Jaideep Tumbear saying another reporter, Melissa R, is tweeting regarding Malacia deal. She was part of the Erik ten Hag unveiling. I know which reporter you are on about. She's a good reporter, and I'm assuming she's saying what a lot of other people are saying right now, which this deal is basically nearly done. And Nesh Ram for $5 said, "Hey there, Beth. I saw your tweet about the midfield three. I do agree with De Jong, Fred, Bruno, and Eriksen, and then Eriksen can come on for Bruno. Need a Fred upgrade though. 100%. That is who I would be playing, but." Then you look at Fred and you think, can he hold the midfield? And I'm not sure. Someone in the comments said, trust Mark to miss the first signing. Honestly, guys, I'm so happy on my show that I get to announce this. And Mark's been live every hour waiting for this first signing to happen. And he's somehow missed it. But his reporting's been great. But I'm happy that I get to announce this signing as well. But that one made me laugh. I'm sure he'll be on later to say his thoughts about it. Definitely will be. I think he won't be happy that he's missed it, but he'll be happy that we finally got a deal done, I am sure. Cammy Aitken says 56 mil for De Jong, 13 mil for Malacia, 69 mil spent so far. Hope budget is more than 120 or else how can we spend 60 on Anthony and 40 on a centre-back? I think it's 14 mil for Malacia, just to correct you there, but I get what you mean, but 56 mil for De Jong plus the add-ons you have got. I think the add-ons will probably bring it up to around 75 million if all of the conditions are met. He plays games, Champions League, etc. But you've got to think 56 million base for De Jong and 40 million for Malacia. I think the prices for them deals are very, very good when you look at the market right now. You look at Calvin Phillips, he went to City, I think it was for 47 million. And to me, Frankie De Jong I thought that was a good price for him. For me, Frankie De Jong is 10 times better of a player. I think he's a brilliant player. So I think the money we've spent on him is 100% worth it. And I think he will be a good player for us. And the whole point of where we're spending our money is what is Erik ten Hag's targets and what his priorities are. And that's what Manchester United are seemingly doing. And how we fund the other money, that's where I would have thought that we would have got money for Henderson and we would have got money for players so far. Like we've still got Martial, who we don't know if he's staying. We've still got Bayu, still got Tuan Zebu, we've still got Teller, still got Williams. We've still got quite a bit of dead wood there that we need to sell. Even Pereira's not happened yet. 15 million rumoured going to Fulham. So do we get the money back from the deadwood that we've got sitting there? I don't think we'll be able to sell them all. We should be able to get some money back, and potentially Manchester United might push the budget. We don't actually have it confirmed what the budget is. So I think we definitely still are going to go for other targets. We're not going to stop here. I don't see our transfer window just being De Jong, Malacia and potentially Eriksen on a free. We will get either a forward or a centre-back or potentially both. But I definitely think that you'll see Manchester United make more targets. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. And that's why I think we will get Anthony and Martinez. That is why the board has asked Ajax to wait. The price is going to be high on them players, so we'll have to see about that. And there's just a vote in the chat right now on the United stand saying, do you think Tyrell Malacia is a good signing for Manchester United? So you can vote in the chat and I will see your votes. 92% saying yes right now. So I definitely think we see your guys' opinions coming through there. And yeah, I'm just so excited about this deal. And we get to see Tyrell Malacia go on the tour, hopefully. It's probably one of the quickest deals Manchester United have done. It depends how long it takes for everything, all the proceedings to get done, where it comes to contracts, where it comes to medical stuff like that. But I remember Donny van der Beek 2 years ago was a very quick signing, and this kind of gives me the same sort of vibes. It's happened very quickly. It's basically happened within an hour that this is all being confirmed and put out there. So it is exciting. I love quick signings rather than ones that drag out over 9 weeks. And again, I'm trying to see, do you think that Luke Shaw will start for Manchester United on the first game of the season if we get Tyrell Malacia in? And Speedy C says, Man U keep finding cheap deals to get more players. I mean, I don't think this is Manchester United trying to find a cheap deal. I think it's a good deal. I think Erik ten Hag has scouted this player that he likes from the Dutch league when he was working there with Ajax. He's told Manchester United, look, it's only going to cost you around £14 million. They've seen the offer going from Lyon and get accepted verbally. Manchester United have sat there and thought, oh, we'd pay that for Tyrell Malacia. They've gone in, got the deal done for Ten Hag at the last minute. It just so happens to be Eric Ten Hag's priority signing for the left back is a very, very good price. And this is the good thing about having a manager in that spots talent and knows what he wants. You can get not every single player is going to be an 80, 100 million pound player. There is going to be players there that he wants to bring in and develop for a cheaper price, and this seems to be one of them. And it's a good signing as well, because even if he doesn't go to plan, which I think he will, £14 million is not the end of the world. It's like Dan James. We brought Dan James in for £15 million and we sold him for 20 million, even though he had a very poor career at Manchester United. That's what happens with cheaper signings when you bring them in. The value doesn't tend to drop as much. So I don't think it's as much of a risky signing for Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United. Alex Marman says, this is a steal if this deal is confirmed. The fact that he will offer more competition can only be good for Luke Shaw and the squad. Tellers to leave. I definitely think Tellers will leave. Yes, I think there's no room for him now, really, because he's not getting in that team with Malacia and Luke Shaw there. He's not. So I don't see Tellers staying. And I think there will be a club that comes in for Tellers. I think in a European league, such as the Portuguese league, which he came from with Porto, or potentially even the Bundesliga, Serie A, I think Tellers would be a good left back. I just don't think he's a Premier League left back, and I've thought that for a while now. So I do think we could definitely get some money. And please tell us for €9 million to Lyon, they will jump at it. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that, and I do think there will be options there for Tellers. I do think he will be on the way out. Beth to hijack Mark's first signing announcement, behind the Manchester United to the Lyon, as they say. And another vote in the chat, is Malacia a good deal at 14 million? So vote down below so I can see your guys' opinions on that as well. Do one last fast deal for Sangare. I feel like if Sangare was on the mind of Eric Ten Hag, we would have heard about it sooner. He's seen him play in his games with Ajax. He's in the Dutch league. He plays a big competitor for Ajax. He would have seen this player. Do I think Sangare is a great player? Would I want him at Manchester United? Absolutely. But if Ten Hag rated him and wanted it at Manchester United, I feel like we would have already stepped in, asked, give interest, that like we did with Malacia. Obviously, Ten Hag seen Malacia, liked him, wanted him in Man United. He's told the board, go and get Malacia. With Sangare, it doesn't seem to be the same thing. So I don't see that happening, even though I know it's a fan favourite with a lot of the Manchester United fans. Mr. Real says 5 signings is a must. I agree. You've got Malacia now, hopefully De Jong, Eriksen, and we need a forward and a centre-back. We do need a forward and a centre-back. So they should be our 5 signings. I potentially think we might only get either one of a forward or a centre-back, with the budget being rumoured at 120 million plus, obviously, money from sales. But for me, we've got to push the boat out and we've got to get them players. And you look at that and you still think you need a CDM, you need a right back as well. You still have positions you need to get. It's still not everything done. We just need to get the spine of the team sorted, and also some the positions such as a right back would be a bonus. But it just doesn't. I don't think that'll happen in this window with everything that we need. Good signing if it happens. Right back should have been bigger priority over left back, though. I'm still happy. A lot of people think that, but that might not be in the eyes of Eric Ten Hag. He's studied these players. He's studied the squad. He might think a left back's a priority. He might not rate Luke Shaw. He might rate Diogo Dalot. So you don't know Eric Ten Hag's mind, and Manchester United are going to follow what Eric Ten Hag wants. So it'll be prevalent at the start of the season to see how Eric Ten Hag has viewed the squad, because if you see Malacia at left back and Dalot at right back, you'll know that Eric Ten Hag rated Dalot as the right back, but he wasn't sure on Luke Shaw as a left back. So it depends on what the manager wants. Jadit Tombear again says, I think the pandemic has reset the transfer market prices as clubs have been affected in the wallets, even the oil states. I mean, you can blame stuff on the pandemic, but Manchester United still should be pulling out cash, like other big clubs, for the biggest transfer window that we've had in a very long time. Eric Ten Hag's taking on a very, very, very hard job here. Lowest point season in history. Poor squad, nowhere near at the talent-wise that we need to be at. overpaid average players. We need to put money in the market, and it's not only that we need to buy players, we need to get rid of players that aren't good enough. So you can blame COVID, or the Glazers could try and blame COVID, but I wouldn't take it as an excuse. And Curtis Russell says Malacia equals Evra. If you was half the player Evra, I would be happy. I think Evra was absolutely brilliant, and yeah, Malacia could be the next big left back for Manchester United, and we could have announced it here on the show now. So I do think he is going to be a massive part of Erik ten Hag's project. Definitely, he's a great up and coming player as well. Only 22, it's exciting. Darren Mulaney, too many players on high wages makes it hard to sell. Yeah, and that's what we need to try and avoid. We do really need to try and avoid this wage structure that we've got going on with these players. I'm glad that's why we didn't re-sign Pogba. When he was laughing in his documentary about 300 grand a week being nothing, that is a sign you need to get out. And I'm glad that we decided to go against that. It'll be interesting to see what De Jong gets. We're going to move on to that in a second, and it will be interesting to see what Tyrell Malacia comes in on. Tyrell Malacia shouldn't be coming in on a big wage whatsoever. He should be on a small wage. I'm assuming he will be. So hopefully we've got the wage structure in line good with the players that we're bringing in, because I agree with you. Players being overpaid is where we've gone wrong a lot in the past. But Malacia seems to be done. Great signing. Dutch. We're going to turn into the Dutch Wolves. With Wolves with all their Portuguese players, it seems like we're going to become that for Manchester United. And Jonathan Wilson quickly, Beth, a good luck charm, need you on every show now. Well, do you know what? Every time I come live, there might be a quick signing coming on. So make sure you tune in for future shows as well. But moving on to another Dutch player that we've heard a lot about and we know a lot about, and a lot of people are getting bored of talking about this transfer, but it is finally coming to a close. And what might I add as well on this one, guys, I said when I predicted weeks ago on this show when I think De Jong will get done, my date was 1st of July. And it seems like this deal is rumoured to be going ahead Thursday into Friday. So I potentially could be the good luck charm you're on about, and I could have got this right on this. And it's coming out from the Mirror that Frankie de Jong's salary at MUFC is expected to be around €290,000 per week on a 5-year deal, and the full agreement between MUFC and Barcelona for Frankie de Jong is 90% complete. That's coming from Sami Mokbel. And again, to follow up on the fact that this deal might be struck this week, it's again coming from Sami Mokbel that there's a growing chance that this De Jong deal will be struck this week. We've seen what the fee is going to be. I think Mark did a show on it earlier about the fee being €65 million plus €20 million in add-ons, which works out about £56 million. And now, again, coming from Sami Mokbel, it is just a case of Frankie de Jong. He's open to join the MUFC with the prospect of a Ten Hag reunion being a major factor, and personal terms will not be an issue. To me, personal terms, not an issue. And the fact that the fee is now agreed, it means it is only a matter of time. And with people coming out saying that there is still hurdles to jump through on the Frankie de Jong deal, it means when they want to announce this deal, and also possibly contract hurdles, figuring out when they're going to announce certain things. I don't think there's anything that can go wrong now to where this deal won't happen. The fee being agreed and personal terms being agreed, despite what Koeman said, it's going to happen. De Jong is willing to come to Manchester United, and yeah, it seems like it's going to happen. And on your screen, again, just a little update on Malacia. Malacia only has to say yes to MUFC and the deal is done. Again, coming from MK Rabbit on your screen right now. So that deal seems to me like it is done. I don't see Malacia turning down a deal from Manchester United. And back onto the De Jong, just a few more updates. And it is coming from Hearst Class. The MUFC are hoping to pay an initial fee of $56.2 million for Frankie de Jong. Significant hurdles remain, as I just said before, but it's understood there is positive progress over the last few days in negotiations. To me, the positive progress is the fee has been agreed, because we knew Frankie de Jong would come if the fee got agreed. He did want to stay at Barcelona. He probably does still want to stay at Barcelona. If Barcelona turned around now and said, we're going to scrap this deal off, we want you in our team, he would stay. But at the end of the day, we're getting a player that Erik ten Hag really wants and really is prioritised to be the revolution of this Manchester United team. He's going to be the key cog in this Manchester United team, and it's a signing we had to get done after 9 weeks of negotiations. And I genuinely think towards the end of this week, or potentially the start of next week, this deal is going to happen. And I knew it'd just be before the pre-season tour. I knew it was going to lag out until potentially the new kit release, which will probably be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So I do think we can see Frenkie de Jong holding up a shirt very, very soon. Glenn says, hi Beth, do you think this signing might change Timber's mind if Malacia isn't worried about fighting for a World Cup place? Potentially, but Malacia isn't 100% from my knowledge, isn't 100% starting for the Dutch team anyway. So I think, if anything, Malacia, it gives him more of a chance joining Manchester United, because I think he'll be playing a higher quality of games, and I think he will be playing a lot. We've got a lot of games. We've got 5 subs. We've got quite a lot of different competitions. I think Malacia will be playing, but I think it shows as well the mindset of the player. The player isn't thinking small. He could have gone to Lyon and probably get more chance of being in the Dutch squad with probably more guaranteed playing time. But this player, if he says yes, because he does still have to say yes, his mentality is, I can go to Manchester United against Luke Shaw, I can get in, and I can go to the World Cup. I think it shows good mentality, which, again, for me on Timber, it really disappointed me when that was what was coming out around. The reason he didn't want to come is because of the World Cup. You should back yourself to get in over Harry Maguire, in my opinion, after how he performed last season. And if you don't, you're not good enough to play for Manchester United anyway. That's my opinions on that. So I think the mentality of the player, it shows that he thinks he can get in, and he thinks he can play in the World Cup, and he thinks he can play regularly for Manchester United. But a few questions I wanted to ask you guys about the De Jong deal, because I know we've spoken about it a lot. Mark's spoken about it earlier this morning, but I just wanted to get your guys' opinions. Is De Jong for you worth the fee that we're paying? £56.2 million up front, 65 million euros, and then add-ons, adding this deal up to around 85 million euros. And then add-ons won't be paid straight away. They'll be paid over the course of a couple of years if De Jong does end up being successful for us, which I think he will. Is that a good price? Because in my opinion, I cannot knock the price. I think the price is brilliant. I think the price for De Jong is a steal. What I don't think is good is how long it's taken and how much we've had to haggle and negotiate and wait to be able to get to this agreement on the price, because the amount of time this has took, we've lost the money that we were going to save on Anthony and Timber anyway, because their prices have risen due to their squad being cleared out in the meantime by other clubs. So it's not as if you've saved money if we do end up paying the money that Ajax are now asking for Anthony or Timber, or Martinez, depending on which one we end up going for, because we are linked to both Timber and Martinez. So I think it's brilliant he's in for the start of pre-season. I think this is a deal that could have happened weeks ago, if I'm being honest. I think we could have reached this agreement weeks ago. But I do have to commend the price. It is a good price. And I think he's going to be a big, big player in this rebuild. And I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. A lot of people are doubting De Jong. I know a lot of people are excited, like me, and like a lot of people around this De Jong deal. But a lot of people don't think he's worth what we've paid. But I think he definitely is worth that and more. I think he's going to be a brilliant player in this Ten Hag team. I mean, if you watched De Jong under Ten Hag when he was at Ajax, like I did, he was brilliant. So I expect to see more of the same now when he's coming to Manchester United. Graham Outerbridge says, I wonder if this means the end of Shaw and Alvaro Fernandez comes into the first team next season. Don't think we'll sell Shaw. Absolutely not. We were talking about offering a new contract not long ago. And I think he's one of them players like Rashford, like Maguire, like Fernandez, that is protected a lot by the club. And personally, I think Luke Shaw's a very good player. I wouldn't want to sell him. I think he's a good left back. I just don't think he's consistent enough. And I'm glad he's got some competition in there. Darren Mulaney, could Ten Hag make Mengi a good centre back? For me, again, I don't really want to write off players, but if you aren't breaking into Manchester United's first team around 18, 19, max, 18, 19, 20 max, I don't think you're ever really going to get there, in my opinion. There is certain players that have done it, but I think to be the player that is really going to come in and make a difference, you've got to be doing it around that age. I'm not sure how old Mengi is. I think Let me just have a little look. I think he is around 19, 20 now. So if he was going to be coming in, I think it would be around now. See, he's 20 years old now. So I think he would have to kind of be trying to step up. As a centre back, maybe a little bit later, you could argue. But from what I've seen of him, I think he'll end up going on loan or potentially getting sold, in my opinion. I think he's a decent centre back, but I don't think he's going to be first team quality, just to answer your super chat on that. And then another super chat here from Jadip Tombert saying, I meant the pandemic has decreased players' prices, not increased, which means 120 should get us more players with smart buys. I mean, I'm not sure again on that one. The only reason we've got De Jong for a small fee is because of Barcelona's financial issues with the club that they've had for a little bit now. I mean, it does coincide with the pandemic, but I look at Jack Grealish. He went for 100 million last year when the pandemic was on, so I don't think it's had a massive effect on players. Daniel Nicholson, any news on Eriksen, Beth? No news as of yet. Just waiting for Eriksen to make his decision. And do you know what? A deal like this on this week, the news coming out, because Eriksen will be hearing this, the news coming out that Frenkie de Jong's about to sign, the news coming out that we've just signed a fullback in Tyrell Malacia, could encourage the likes of Eriksen to trigger the yes answer on the Manchester United deal, because he's at the moment picking between us and Brentford. And it is slightly embarrassing for us that he's waiting to see what we do and see how we're planning to go about next season before he makes his decision. And us getting these players in shows that ambition that might make him want to say yes, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think Eriksen will end up coming to Manchester United, but if he did pick Brentford, I wouldn't begrudge that. I really wouldn't. He gets first team football. It's not as much stress as playing for Manchester United, and he wants to enjoy his football. And I think he definitely would at Brentford. So for me, it's not, I wouldn't begrudge him of joining Brentford, but it would just be slightly embarrassing for us that he's done that. Malacia has 5 caps for Holland. Exactly. So he's not as close to securing that first team spot as I think the likes of Timber is when we come back to what we were speaking about on that. And Ben Gill says, finally doing business. I know, finally doing business. It feels good. It feels very good to do a show about us making movements as well. And up on your screen, another update. MUFC will pay a fixed 15 million fee to Feyenoord for Tyrell Malacia in instalments over the next 3 seasons, potentially with a further 2 million in bonuses. And do you know what? The fact that we're paying it over the next 3 seasons as well. Everyone keeps going on about this Murto madness. I don't believe it is Murto madness. I think the De Jong deals took way longer than it should have, and I think we should have definitely got deals done before now, and we should have been more organised in this window. But the prices that we're getting for these players are good. I've got to admit they are good. It just hasn't. I don't think it has. We've gone about it in the right way, but you can't disregard the fees. The fees are very good. And do you know what as well? It's like Murto reminds me of he must be tight. He must be tight, to be fair, to be getting these prices done. And he did it with Sancho last season, to be fair. He got a good price for Sancho in the end compared to what we were quoted. But it's the way these deals happen, how they're dragged out and longed out, and it feels like we've not prepared properly. That's where the issues come in. And on the votes that you did, is Malacia a good deal for United at 14 million? 93% of you said yes, 6% said no. Cool. 8k votes in the end. So thank you for them votes, guys. And thank you for everyone in the chat as well. We've got a lot of people here in the chat right now to discuss the first deal for Manchester United. And everyone in the chat, please hit a like, please subscribe, share the video out. And I'm hoping we get to do a lot more of these breaking news videos when we do end up getting more deals over the line, hopefully, and getting players in for Erik ten Hag's reign. So make sure you like and subscribe as you're watching the show right now. And there's another vote in the comments. Is Frenkie de Jong worth 85 million euros? Remember, guys, that's the 65 million euros we're paying base fee, and then the add-ons taking up to 85 million euros. I actually think as a player, he is worth that 100%. If we would have gone into the transfer window, got that deal done within 3 or 4 weeks, that would have been like class deal. It's how long it's taken to happen and how we've missed out on the prices for Timber, Martinez and Anthony, that has rubbed me up the wrong way, and how we've seen all these other clubs do this great business and we've been a little bit behind, that's annoyed me. But the price, I don't think we can deny it, is a very good deal. John Newman, I wish these deals were done early on. We always seem to be last out of the gates. That's what I'm talking about. We need to get these deals done quicker. The price is good, pace, we are very, very slow. But we always have been. That's what needs to be improved. Beth, Denzel Dumfries, any news on him? I read we were preparing €35 million bid for him. He's a player that we've definitely looked at and we've had interest in. But if you ask me now, do I think it's a player that we're going to get done? I don't think it is, because I just see us spending more money on a centre-back or a forward. Sorry, guys, just had to plug in my laptop there so I don't die. But I see us getting a forward or a centre-back over someone like Denzel Dumfries. But I think Dumfries would be a brilliant signing. If you told me Dalot and Dumfries again on the right and Malacia and Shaw on the left, I'm happy with that in the full-back situation. So hopefully Manchester United might push a bit more cash out, but to me it seems like forward and centre-back are the priorities. Beth, Eriksen is likely to accept Leicester. Does that mean we have a chance of getting Tielemans, do you reckon? Tielemans, again, I think it's going to be too much money for us to go for after getting De Jong in the midfield department. But you never know what could happen in the transfer window. And do you know what? Moving on to Youri Tielemans, because some news has come out about him. The Times understands that Youri Tielemans, a Leicester City player, is now another midfielder who is of interest to Ten Hag, although it is unclear how highly he features on the Dutchman's shortlist, coming from Hurst class. So quickly on Youri Tielemans, I think he'd be a brilliant signing, great midfielder. But if I was signing a midfielder after De Jong, I'd be signing a defensive midfielder. Don't think we need another box-to-box. We've got De Jong, we've got Fred, we've got McTominay. No matter how bad or good you think McTominay and Fred are, they're not going anywhere. They're in the squad. And I mean, if Eriksen went to Leicester, Ten Hag is then missing out on a target that is an attacking midfielder / could play box to box. So is potential there if we don't get Eriksen, but I don't think Manchester United are going to ship money on Youri Tielemans when we've got other priorities. I don't. But I think he's a brilliant player. And moving on to Anthony, again coming out from Hurst class. As soon as United have signed reinforcements in midfield, they will shift their focus to improving their attack. Anthony, the Ajax winger, is their top target. So, as we've seen, guys, Ajax's Anthony has become very high up on Manchester United's list for the attacking option after losing out on the Darwin Núñez deal, which I never really thought we were going to get over the line or even get near anyway, to be honest with you. It just doesn't seem like we're interested in any more out-and-out forwards. But Anthony is a deal that could be done. We've got good relations with Ajax. He's a player that's worked with Ten Hag. He's a player that Ten Hag really wants. So I would assume after this De Jong deal is done, we move on to try and get Anthony at a good price. But last time it was reported, it seems like Ajax want around 80 million for Anthony, which is just not feasible for us and not payable, especially with the rest of the budget that we've got left. So I'm assuming we're going to look at other options in that area. But I think Manchester United will push Ajax and try and get a deal for Anthony for what price they think is suitable. I think if you've got Anthony for 60 million, I would be happy with that. Some people, again, in the chat would say it's a little bit too much, but with the fact that Erik Ten Hag wants him, he's, again, going to be able to play on the right. We've not had a proper right winger. We thought Sancho was going to be that. He ended up playing on the left. If Ten Hag wants to play Sancho on the left and wants a right winger in, it would fill that gap that we've not been able to fill. And I think he'd come straight into the team and do really well. Left-footed as well, would offer a lot. His game isn't selfish. He's unselfish in his game. And I think it would massively help a player like Ronaldo, who we've still got to utilise. So I think it would be a good signing, a very good signing, just whether it would be able to happen. And again, coming from... someone's phone's going off in the background. But again, coming from Sky Sports News, saying that Manchester is interested in Serge Gnabry, but there are no concrete talks at the moment. United's priority for the position is Anthony. Bayern planning to resume contract talks with Gnabry and are still hoping he would extend. So that again, to me, is just, I don't think we will end up getting Serge Gnabry, but I think it will end up that we are going to go for a flexible attacking option. And I think then reports again from Sky Sports just so that Manchester United are looking at a player that can play across the front three and a player that can be a flexible attacking option. I don't think we are going for an out-and-out striker anymore. We're going for a player that can play across the front three and potentially a winger. And I think Anthony is the top priority, but will it progress with the deals, with the money that they want? I hope it will. I hope we can get them down, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think a lot more will heat up on that when De Jong is over the line and has been finalised. And we've got an update on for you here. A Barcelona source says we are close to completing the operation of Frenkie de Jong with MUFC, but will be a miracle if we do it in 10 days, coming from at ARA Esports. So that is a Barcelona source saying that they are close to becoming agreement with Manchester United for Frenkie de Jong and close to completing the operation, but it will be a miracle if we do it in 2 days. So I think with the Frenkie de Jong, that is just an update basically saying it's going to happen. But again, like what often happens with Manchester United, we're going to have to wait maybe a little bit longer. And I think that could be a deal for next week, and it could be a deal for that's going to carry on lingering on and carry on progressing. I mean, we know the deal's nearly done, but the thought that we wanted it towards the end of this week, I think it might not happen, especially with that update coming through now. But do you know what? The fact I know that this deal is agreed and the fact that we know it's going to happen now and we've got more clarity on it is really, really important, because I mean, through the last few weeks, I'm thinking, is it going to happen? Is it going to collapse? I knew that this deal was close, but I didn't know that it was definitely going to probably go through. And now that we know that, I personally think it is definitely going to happen, it makes it easier to kind of look at other targets and know that this deal is going to happen. Now, and I definitely think if it doesn't happen within the next week, it is going to happen before the end of next week. And I think it is going to happen soon, and I think it will happen before pre-season. But anyway, guys, just before we go, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the chat and everyone who's watched this live. I'm glad I got to break the Malacia news live on air, and thank you for all the comments and everyone who's voted as well, and everyone who has made this show interactive and give their thoughts on Malacia, and also Frenkie de Jong, who could be our first 2 signings for Manchester United. And yeah, thank you for everyone getting involved with the show. Thank you for watching, and we'll have more updates for you for the 8 p.m. show. Any breaking news, any more updates, we'll bring it to you here on the United Stand. So thank you for watching.